Welcome to another edition of the Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and look who's back. Deion Sanders.
They banned me. I know what you said about me, Marco.
Marco had you covered.
Come on,
Marco
Marco.
had you covered.
You guys trying to ban me? That's all right. I got something for both of you.
Not to panic. Marco took care of your position for a little while.
Did he?
Well, today we're going to talk about, we have two CONCACAF and FIFA referees on island. Got a chance to speak with them last night. Surprisingly, Lionel Can has been elected as the president of the Bermuda Referees Association. That was a big surprise.
Yeah.
We have the quarterfinal draws and venues have been announced by the Bermuda Football Association. And of course, all eyes are on the decision today with the Winter Olympics whether or not Russia will be banned, which will probably be the storyline for the rest of this month and going into next month. If the IOC decide to ban them or if they don't, it's going to be controversy either way. So we'll get to some of these topics and more after this message from our sponsor.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, Jay, welcome back.
Thank you, man.
How was the trip?
Obviously not long enough, since I wasn't missed at all. So I could have stayed.
You were
I could have
missed.
stayed a few more weeks,
You were missed.
but I kept my eye on what was going on down here and pleasantly surprised at some of the storylines that were coming up. And I'm looking forward to 2018. But let's get into today's show. Start off.
Well, again, we have the CONCACAF and FIFA referees on island. Got a chance to speak with both of them from Jamaica, but this is not their first time to Bermuda. To just get an update on what they've seen in the two visits, surprisingly what they had to say. Let's get that interview with the Jamaican CONCACAF and FIFA instructors. Welcome to the Referees Corner right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and I'm joined by two very interesting gentlemen. I'll let them introduce themselves so I don't mess up their names. You, sir?
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Stewart from Jamaica, a referee assessor, instructor in Jamaica, and I also work in the Caribbean and CONCACAF at large.
And you, sir?
My name is Rowan Thorburn. I'm a Jamaican, a referee instructor, fitness-wise, but also an assessor both for Jamaica, the Caribbean, and CONCACAF.
You gentlemen are in Bermuda, not for the first time. How do you assess what we have here locally as far as referees? Anyone?
Well, this is my second stint here in Bermuda, dealing with referee matter. I came here earlier this year, I think it was April, for the Member Association's course,
Right.
sponsored by FIFA. I am quite happy and impressed with the effort that has been made in recent time. And if I may, I would like to name just a few persons: the effort of President Wade, General Secretary Sabir, and the Chairman of the Referee Committee, Mr. Crescent Williams, have been making significant stride in ensuring that referee development is an integral part of the Football Association in Bermuda. So I'm quite pleased with the effort from that point of view.
Right. You say this is your second time, so have you seen in the short space of time some improvements to what's been happening locally?
Well, if you look at it incrementally, the appointment of Tashawn to the FIFA list is one achievement that would have occurred, albeit it's not just this year that he started. He would have started before, but it finally culminated in this year. He being nominated this year. So there are some improvement. There are still a far way to go in terms of the number, and another sore point is the age grouping of the referees we have here. But I'm willing to work in tandem with the FA in order to assist in that regard.
Right. And for you, Mr.?
This is my second time here. I came here the first MA course 3 years ago.
Right.
And met a number of referees, both from various different age groups. What I have seen is that there are follow-up programs that have been put in place, one of which obviously got young Tashan, the exposure and the training that he has been receiving, hence his elevation to the FIFA list. I was fortunate 2 years ago to be the fitness instructor at the U15 tournament in Orlando, where Tashan was. He was given some guidelines as to what to work on reaching home. This he did, and it's good to see that on working on this, he has been elevated to the level of a FIFA official. The sky's the limit. The talent is here. We just need to hone these talents, identify the areas in which they need to work on, and help them to move forward by helping them to improve.
Now, you guys travel the Caribbean looking for or working with young talent because it's a mandate of CONCACAF, FIFA, CFU to look for young talent in officiating. But we look around, one of the things I notice a lot is the aging popularity or the aging population of the referees that are at the highest level. Is this something that's mandated to quickly change or work towards changing?
Well, the situation in Bermuda, so to speak, is not unique to Bermuda. We have encountered a situation like this across the wider Caribbean. Of course, it differs in different territory. But indeed, you are correct. We are working towards getting a younger cohort of referees to service the games. One of the avenues that we need to explore is the marketing of the product, marketing of refereeing. In most jurisdictions, in most member associations, referee is seen as a secondary part of the football family. And so we need to work in tandem with everyone, all the stakeholders involved, to let them understand that a very important part of football is the officiating.
Right. Obviously, you've officiated throughout your years, but what changed your perception to then want to teach more of it as opposed to continue to officiate?
All right. In our active years, there were persons who guided us. And being a part of it and having this experience, it was only natural for us to want to give back to the youngsters to come, because we need this to keep going. It does not stop here for us.
Absolutely.
Right.
So it is a pleasure to come and want to give to the youngsters, impart best practices in preparing and in getting them prepared to deal with the games at large.
Do you around? Let's use our region when you start talking about South America and so forth. It's close to our region. When you see the young officials coming out, are they starting out looking to officiate as a ways and means to get out of their country as opposed to being a footballer?
Yes and no. In some territories, yes, people look at it. I don't want to call the name of any particular territory, but
Right.
there are some territories where people understand, and the love for football drive them towards officiating as a means of getting out of their economic situation. With all due respect, if you look at a country like Haiti, we all know the situation in Haiti, it differs. But to an earlier question you asked, having officiated to the highest level earlier, you will know that after a certain age, you will have to stop, right?
Yes.
The demands on the game
Right.
is greater and greater as the day go by. Physically, it demands more. And as per FIFA regulation, after 45, you can no longer be an international referee. For me personally, being a teacher by profession, the art of teaching is something that I like very much. I cherish passing on information. And as my colleague said just now, in our formative years, we were guided by elders who were there before us. So it only follows that we now, having completed our stint as active referee, follow suit. And the amount of games that is being played globally and across our region, the requirements increase, the number of referees increase. So it is up to us who would have benefited from being a FIFA international referee, continue in that vein to assist youngsters in getting to that standard, to matriculate to become referees that can service the game of football. Football is a globally accepted sport. It is the most spectator-friendly sport that we have in the region. And so we are very happy to be a part of it, to provide a service that will help the beautiful game.
When you go to these, not just only Bermuda, but when you go to these and host courses and so forth, what's some of the stronger questions you get asked about officiating?
Why officiating? Why refereeing? Yes,
yeah.
That's the question. You know, people, for some reason, people demonize referee. Everything that goes wrong in a game, the finger is pointed at the referee.
Yes.
We will not sit here and deny the fact that referees don't make mistakes. Some people tend to forget that referees are human. We are subjected to ridicule and abuse left, right, and center.
Yes, yes.
But we take solace and pride in the fact that we, as match officials, are providing support to the game, because you wouldn't want to imagine 22 players on the field of play, 5,000 spectators, and you say, okay, players, go there and play. No referee. Pandemonium. Chaos. Absolutely. So in the midst of that battle, it gives us some sense of pride and achievement to know that I can service this entity that people love. And we offer a service that is necessary for the game.
Right.
But the question that people generally ask, why are you not afraid? Eh? But the achievements supersede the fear.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And some of the things you can look at, just don't look at a referee as just being a man in the middle with a whistle, or the person's on the sideline with a flag. He's a facilitator for the entire game, all the spectators that are there.
Right.
He's also a referee in the sense of players coming together, he getting inside here to defuse situations. And three, it also enhances his level of concentration in terms of concentrating for the entire game and ensuring that the laws of the game are being upheld.
Do you find when you go to watch games, you tend to assess the referee more than watch a game?
Absolutely.
That's right.
But you might be just there to watch the game. Well,
Yes.
you might technically be there to watch the game.
No, but quite frankly, nowadays, I don't think I have left home directly to watch a game. I mean, watching the game is secondary. The principal reason for going to a soccer game at any level is to assist the referee, providing moral support, to give guidance, to give encouragement, to observe their behavior and their performances on the field of play. That has now become, for me personally, it's a natural part of it. Because, as I said earlier, I work at the CONCACAF level and at the FIFA level as an assessor. So sitting down and watching a game, I pay specific attention to the referee's action and whatever he does on the field of play during the game. Yeah, I may see some nice local play if there's a good play. But for me, the number one priority of attending a game is to see the referee do well and assist them in their areas for improvement.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
After assessing a game, you have to sit down with a referee or referee assistant, delivering, I guess, fine-tuning what they've done wrong and right, because you have to give the good with the bad. But how do you deliver your messages? Is it a calm manner? Is it a
It is always a calm one, because you want the referee to feel a part of a system.
Right.
You don't want him to feel as if they are the enemy. So, yes, there is no perfect game.
Right.
So, you're going to have good, you're going to have areas for improvement. For me, there is no bad.
Right.
It's
Okay.
just areas for improvement.
Yes.
So, in between the good, you're going to, say, all right, this was done in a particular way. We would recommend you do it this way, this way. So it's how you get it across.
Right.
You must be seen as a mentor, a coach,
Right.
a friend,
A father figure.
and a father figure to the referees.
Right. Do you guys, have you ever, say like, you've been to a game, you're halftime, the first half you're assessing, and you ever been in the change room at halftime and suggested something different to an official, or you just leave it until the end?
Okay, twofold. Let me answer this last question first. Yes and no. From an assessor point of view, it is advisable not to interfere with the referee during the halftime break. However, if during that first half there are incidents in the game and you figure that referee needs some support and guidance, you are obliged to enter that dressing room to give them some empowerment, some encouragement, because the game is not yet completed.
Right.
So we do that, but generally you would sit for 90 minutes and watch the game, record your notes and your information for the feedback. Now, following the game, as you alluded to earlier, it's a process. So the assessment is one, the pre-game. So we will help the referee before the game, Team A versus Team B, whatever information us as the experienced personnel have on those teams and the players and the venue at large. We'll pass on that, give the referee some encouragement, prepare them mentally to go out there and perform. During the game, we would sit and we would observe and record the information that we see out there, their action, decisions, their general operation. Immediately following the game, at a convenient time and convenient place, we give what you call the verbal feedback on basic things. Now, following that verbal feedback, depending on your situation and depending on the level too, we follow up with that with a sitting, what we call post-game analysis, using video evidences that we have garnered from the game to look at incidents in the game with one objective for improvement.
Right.
Areas for improvement. Because apart from that, the assessor is also obliged to send a written report to the organizing committee of that particular competition, give an appraisal of the referee's performance. This will help in a number of ways. One, for future appointments. Two, for information that the referee and his coach may need for his personal improvement. So the assessment process is a broad spectrum process where the assessor is, as Ron said earlier, a mentor, a coach, a father figure in every aspect.
Now you're dealing a lot with the fitness side.
That's right.
And you're gonna leave in a few minutes because you gotta go out. But when you put something in place, we'll use Bermuda. You're here. Can you determine whether or not that is adhered to after you've gone and you come back and you can see whether or not that is kind of still in place?
Yes, there's a system that is in place via the Polar Watch.
Okay.
With the Polar Flow app that is downloaded. That watch, Polar V800, after a training session, it could be done on a daily basis, it could be done on a weekly basis. That information is uploaded to the Polar Flow app.
Okay.
And I'll be able to stay where I'm at to actually see what was done.
Monitor.
So each player has each official has their own code?
Should.
Should.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Especially the international match officials.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm able to tell you, yes, you're at a level now that you need to adjust in this area, or some more needs to be done in this area.
And that's evaluated for training?
Training, matches. Everything.
Oh, okay.
Recovery, everything.
Okay.
Everything.
All right. Well, I know you have to go because you're starting your session in about 4 minutes. So thank you very much. I'm going to continue on
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
So we were talking about the fact that when you look to assess and when do you assess, but has there ever been a time where you felt uncomfortable at a match? You yourself personally, when you were officiating?
Yes, because there are times when a referee on a particular game having challenges out there and you're like nervous in your seat and
Start doubting yourself.
No, not doubting yourself. You more feel for the referee out there.
Uh-huh.
So it brings out a sense of discomfort if the referee is having difficulty.
Right.
Sometimes that difficulty is as a result of the referee not doing what he's supposed to do. And sometimes, to be truthful, it's as a result of unwarranted pressure from the teams and the spectator. So you're sitting down there, you're watching the game, you're hoping that, oh heck, I'm praying for this 90 minutes to up because, I don't want anything to happen. I don't want the game to go. Right? So yeah, you feel nervous sometimes with one purpose, just to see, you want to see the referee do well.
Right.
And if there are things going on in the game that is mitigating against that, please, time it. And you hope that clock would run fast.
Right,
yes.
right. With the technology that is used nowadays, and you mentioned it about video evidence and going to assess and so forth, at the amateur level, are we at a disadvantage? Because sometimes we're looked at as saying, well, the referee wasn't in the right position. And you could have two assistants but miss something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Each member association nowadays, we are trying to encourage them to have at least a camcorder or a simple camera to capture whatever evidence that you can.
Right.
If you observe at the higher level, there are technology unlimited.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Especially nowadays with the VAR, video assistant referee, where the referee can stop the game if he's in doubt, refer to that match official in the room there,
Right.
and come up with the correct decision. However, the human element cannot be ruled out of football. This is a game that plays at a frantic pace.
Yes.
Right? But from a developmental point of view, at our level, at the local level, at the lower level, it's going to take some doing to get all of these technologies in place.
Right.
So we have to just live with it, work with it. Our aim as instructors and assessors is to prepare the referee to minimize the number of mistakes made out there. And for us, mistakes will always be made, but we try to encourage the referee. Game deciding mistake, we try to minimize those. And when we say game deciding, I'm talking about an incorrect penalty.
Right.
Or a penalty that should have been given that wasn't given.
Right.
An offside decision that resulted in a goal or no goal.
Right.
So those game deciding decisions, we try to minimize them. And to be truthful, if you look at a game holistically and the ratio or number of times these happen, it is minimal with game deciding decisions.
Right.
But there may be incidents in the game that the referee needs to improve on.
Right.
Right. So it takes time. Refereeing is a skill that time and experience. And one of the problems we have in Bermuda here and in the Caribbean to that, for so to speak, is the level of football that is played in our region and the challenges that the referee face. We are basically in our comfort zone. So you're at this level.
Right.
And you perform at this level consistently in your region, in your country.
Right.
Now the challenge is to go beyond. I mentioned to the assessors, instructors, and referees in this room, if you're thinking about officiating in Bermuda alone, please leave.
Right.
You should be thinking globally, regionally. I want to become a referee so that I can go out into the Caribbean, into CONCACAF, and service the game at that level, and eventually doing FIFA World Cup games at all age group. The same thing for the assessors and instructors. I want to be able to go to a Caribbean tournament, a CONCACAF tournament, and officiate there. So that is the mentality. I think one of the changes we need to make as a people in the Caribbean, in the smaller island states like Bermuda here, is a change in the mentality.
Right.
Everybody can do it. We can do it.
Right. We just think local.
We have to think globally now.
Right.
We have to
Right.
change that mindset. Even though we don't have football here that will allow us to hone our skill, with technology, I can be sitting here, you're watching the Barcelona playing Real Madrid.
Right.
You're watching Germany playing Brazil, Argentina, etc. You
Right.
watch. You look at the referees there. Tell yourself one thing. I can be in that middle as a referee. There's a popular saying, aim for the star, you might reach the moon.
Huh?
You may not reach the
right.
ultimate, but you will achieve something. So it's a cultural and mindset, psychological thing that we need to overcome that barrier. You see people out there doing it. We are the same human beings, same genetical makeup generally. So we can do it. The knowledge is global. The laws of the game is global.
Right.
Every referee is subjected to the same teaching material from FIFA is universal.
Right.
However, it is the application that is necessary. Who can apply the laws in the context to service the game?
Right. When you arrive at a different location and you're looking amongst the people that are taking the course, can you identify somebody you think can actually go a lot further just by looking at their mannerism, their approach to it?
Absolutely. Observation as part of the teaching process. You observe people behavior, their interaction, the way they present themselves. In terms of a classroom session, you have a class of 20 pupils, for example, in this case 20 referees. Based on their mannerism, their body language, their response to question, and their reasoning ability, you can look at that person and say, this one is good for the game. He will do well in this game, and he should be a good referee in the future. It's similarly on the field of play. You're doing your drills, your movement technique, your positioning, recognition of foul, application of the law generally. So in practice, you can look at a person, and based on how that person operates in training, you say, okay, yes, this is one for the future.
Yeah.
So you elevate that person to the game. On the other hand, you can see those who are not interested.
Right.
So yes, we do.
Over the years, and this came up just the other day, I was watching Sky Sports, and we had a referee from England on talking about a match he had officiated a few years ago, Chelsea and Tottenham, I believe. Is it a good thing or a wise thing to talk about, as an official, to talk about matches, even though they're over, to talk about giving players chances to make sure the game is staying fair, or they just don't want to be the scapegoat for a game?
Well, all right. So first of all, the referee is mandated to apply the laws of the game.
Right.
In the context of the game. There are some referees who believe that the method of controlling a game is the use of the yellow card and or the red card.
Yes.
There are some referees who use personality, management skill to manage the game. Communication with players is very important. The level of the game, again, is important. And I have several examples that I could use where the referee, instead of giving a caution, may use verbal communication and get that player on his side with one purpose: to maintain the integrity of the game, because you want to ensure that fair play is ensured. 11 versus 11. Now, as per the laws of the game, there are mandatory caution, mandatory sanction.
Yes.
There are discretionary sanction. So the red and yellow card should be used basically to manage the game. And so the referees are mandated to use whatever management skill he has in order to ensure that 11 players remain on the field for fair play.
Right.
The game of football is all about fair play. So it's not about giving a player a chance. It's just maintaining the integrity of the game by whatever means necessary without compromising the laws of the game.
Right.
So if I don't have to give a yellow card, I will not. If I have to by law, then you are expected to give.
Right.
If it is discretionary, okay, you need this card. And as I've often said to referees, the caution in a game is basically to manage the game. This game is played for 90 minutes plus extra time,
Right.
stoppage time.
Right.
If you can manage that game without having to sanction a player, then thumbs up to you. That's the hallmark of a top referee. Be able to be consistent with your decision making. Whatever decision you make out there, the players and all stakeholders accept without any animosity. The game is over, no problem. So that's the idea.
Oh, okay.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, it's very difficult to please everybody because 50% of the people's not going to accept your call. But mentally getting over those hurdles, and you talked about it already, that some people think domestic, but you want to get them to think internationally. Now, domestically, in a place like Bermuda, in the small regions, obviously everybody knows everyone. So that getting over that hurdle, how do you manage, how do you kind of get people wrapping their heads around, I'm just a domestic official?
Well, you can't get a person, this is personal. That's personal.
Right.
You have to set yourself personal goals, personal target, personal objective. Okay, a Bermuda national, you're born and grew in Bermuda, you'd have seen people before you officiate, you'd have seen the game being played at the same level. Whichever day, a Sunday afternoon, is more recreational, so families will go out to a game. A person go there, you get your regular bashing from the spectator. That's not encouraging generally.
Right.
But if you stop and think and look at what is going on globally, if you have an affinity to that sport called football, and you have the ability to become a referee, you should start to think. And this is where the member association, in this case the Bermuda Football Association, through their referee department, comes in. Spotting a youngster out there that is officiating, guidance, passing on information, encouragement. Hey, youngster, you can make it. You show purse here. You look good on the field of play. Hey, can you take this to another level? What do you need? You need some gears. You need some information on laws of the game. Okay, I'm gonna send you to a course here or there. I'm gonna send you to a tournament. Encouragement, right? So it's twofold. One, it's personal from the individual point of view, and two, it is up to the member association through their referee department to assist in that regard. Because people before these youngsters would have known what is expected out there, what are the benefits to be achieved, right? So in Bermuda, for example, there has been a big jolt. In discussion with the MA, Linden was the last person that was on the list 15 years ago. 15 years ago. And now we have Tashan just coming. So there was a big gap.
Right.
It means that people would have not been looking on and say, okay, boy, I want to become a FIFA international match official. Right? So information, and we are taking on a new strategy in the Caribbean now where we are preparing promotional video for the promotion of referee to pass on to schools as a career. In Jamaica, for example, we have people going into school on Careers Day. I don't know if you have Career Day here. People want to be soldiers, police, lawyers, doctor, fireman, whatever.
Right.
So we go into schools and we speak about officiating. We give example of people who would have achieved. The truth is, in the Caribbean, we are not yet at the stage of professionalism, where people are professionally paid for officiating.
Right.
It can be a nice secondary earner for you, right? Because across the globe, many of the top officials, even at the World Cup level, are doctors and lawyers,
Right.
teachers, policemen. In some countries, it's professional. So, for example, in Mexico, for example, The referees are paid over $1,000 per game in Mexico. That's their job.
Oh,
But that in Mexico you have professional football.
right.
You're shudder to know how much a referee make for a Champions League game in Europe.
I wouldn't even begin to think.
You didn't begin to think. So in a lot of cases, people sit down going to a game on a Sunday evening, as I say, it's recreational. Okay, tweet, blow a whistle, wave a flag, blah, blah, blah. 90 minutes, you're out, go to your home, have a drink. Okay, what is there for me out of this? It is just doing this game on a Sunday? No, this is where the member association comes in. Identify these youngsters who show any form of prowess out there, whether in the classroom, on the field, or during the game. Lead them, guide them towards becoming that. And that is the concept that we are trying to promote here in Bermuda.
Okay.
My stint here in Bermuda, the second time around, is to pass on some information to your local instructors so that they can go ahead and instruct referees at the local level. In CONCACAF, there is a trust towards assisting the member association with whatever resources necessary so that these instructors, football is now global.
Right.
It's global, it's international. It cannot be just voluntary. If everything in football is done voluntarily, people are not obligated.
Right.
So support to the MA from the wider Caribbean, from the region, and support to the local instructors, very important.
All right.
So that's the trust now.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, you hear from them encouraging. The signs are looking good. They've complimented the work that the association has done with President Wade, General Secretary Sabir, and obviously the Chairman of Referees, Cranston Williams, in looking and expressing to the youngsters to get out and join the referee ranks, in which now we have one person on the FIFA list for 2018, and they're encouraged to see many more.
Well, it needed to be a change of guard, and when I say a change of guard, the normalcy of what used to happen is basically when players had finished playing, they sort of drifted into the referee world, or people that was looking on the outside probably didn't have the skill to play,
Yes.
like us, would venture to refereeing. But to start looking at referees at a young age, where you expect these probably players to actually play,
Right.
we're actually looking for them to actually referee and be officials. And I think that mindset needs to happen throughout, not just Bermuda, but throughout the Caribbean, because, like they said, there is a lack of young referees, and to keep up with today's game, which can be very stressing at times.
Right.
Not only the physical attributes, can we see that a lot of emphasis being put on that
Right,
with our
yeah,
boys.
yeah.
A lot of the video footage, the jumping over cones or whatever they make. But
Right.
there's a lot of emphasis on the physical attributes. But also, you got to bear in mind, and I think sometimes we look at a referee like they're inflammable, per se. When we talk about teams going to a different time zone,
Right.
we don't think about the referees having to put up with those same things
yeah.
that the players have to put up with,
Yeah.
whether it's high elevation or whatever the case may be. The heat that we talk about, especially if you're going to play refereeing in South America or some of these countries when it is the height of their summer.
Right.
Or even you talked about Bermuda when it was in September with the high humidity and the high heat. We don't really think about the referee.
Right. Right.
You say, the players have got cramp, this, that, the other. But we don't really think about the referee.
They go through the same fitness, they go through the same mental stress and physical stress. It's just the players a little, because they're actually competing. The referee is just a level below that, but probably does more running than any other person on the field.
Right, if you look at it, because if you're a defender, from 9 times out of 10, you're only coming to the halfway line, if that.
Right.
And if you're a forward, you're from the halfway line all the way through, where he has to cover the ground, and left and right. So to be in position. So it's in, and I even think even on a mental level, I mean, you can see where some players can actually turn off a bit if the ball is on the other side of the field or up the field. Where the referee's always got to bear in mind not only the play, but also keep them on their assistance. So it's definitely good that Deshaun got on, because now it says something now for the youngsters across the Caribbean, because you have a youngster now, so it's obtainable.
Right.
And a lot of times we talked about it before, we might have all these fine wishes, but when we see somebody who's obtained it, okay, no, if he could do,
Right.
we just have to do. If he could do, I could. If Earl could do it, I could do.
Right. It was something interesting that Victor said during the interview when he said, in his first time coming to Bermuda, he made a statement in the room, if you've come in here to just think domestically, leave the room now.
Yeah.
Because anything, you said it, anything is obtainable. So he wants people to think internationally, think globally. Don't just think domestic. And that resonated with me for a while because I'm saying, oh wow, I wonder how many people stay in the room, because some people would have just said, you know what, let me just go and help.
Right.
But others would try to make a career out of it.
And I think the more information gets out, and you see that when I say the more information gets out, the more these instructors come to the island and show our referees what it takes. Well, so okay, you know what, I can do that. I'm not far off from that.
Right.
You know, these are world class,
Right.
you know, referees, and I'm not far off from that.
Right.
So now I know, because if we look at on TV, okay, during a FIFA World Cup game or EPI game, we're just thinking that we're just way out of the league,
Right.
physically,
Yeah.
you know, and then you say, hold up, we might not be that far out, and
Right.
also even technically, if you knew you had some more training under my belt, so. With these coaches, or these referees, coaches, one of them must say,
Right.
but with these instructors coming down, they sort of make that gap a little bit smaller.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, without a doubt. It was interesting as well because he said, when he mentioned what the Mexican referee makes in a game,
Yeah,
$1,000.
yeah.
And he said you would be shocked at what a Champions League referee would make during a game. I said, you don't have to tell me that.
And putting it to comparison, a local referee makes about,
I think it's $75 a game.
just say under $100.
Under $100, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you'll get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, Jay, we've heard from the referee instructors, but after I sat down with them and they had a short training session with some of the officials, it was an election of Bermuda Referees Association, and Lionel Cain. I don't know what the vote was, but Lionel Cain is now the new president with Cassandra Trott as the vice president. Former president Anthony Bailey is now the treasurer. Wendy Woodley is the secretary. And two youngsters, Mateo Donowa and Tashawn Simons, are part of the executive. So a bit of youth with a bit of experience. And the good thing is that Bailey, coming from the presidency, stays on the executive, so there's some continuity within the organization.
Very important,
Yeah,
very important. But I mean, I can almost remember when Lionel took up the whistle.
Yeah.
Because once again, there was a plea for former players, and he was actually still playing.
Right.
But there was a plea for referees, and he put up his hand to be counted. And you see. You know what Lionel's about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And when he gets a bit of anything in his mouth, he's very committed to it. So I'm only expecting even bigger things from not only Lionel but also the referee association. And I think the relationship that Lionel has with a lot of players, I think it's gonna bode well to have that communication, because that's what happens a lot of times. It's the lack of communications between the players and the referees.
I can actually see more people now coming on board because of now he's heavily involved.
Yes.
And he has that relationship that you say.
Yeah.
And
past players.
Right. And he can encourage people to say, if you're going to stand on the sideline and criticize, well, come on and let's see if you can handle being in the middle, making the decisions that you have to make at the times you have to make it.
And I mean, there are some challenges. We keep, we stop through. There is the elephant in the room. The players' attitudes, or towards officials. That has to change.
Yes.
But that's not only in Bermuda.
No.
This is happening in almost every sport.
That's right.
I watched the NFL last night. And
Oh,
I watched
boy.
the basketball last night. And
Yes.
somebody, so being suspended and
More fines coming too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and that's going up and face to face with a referee and different things like that. And we're talking about the Golden State Warriors, who was the champions.
Right.
So if you see it on that level, it trickles down.
Right.
But in saying that, we have to do our part without us trying to not just turn a blind eye to. I think we're just as guilty as the perpetrators.
Right. Right. Have to address it.
Have to address it.
You have to address it. Want to go off on subject a little bit, but you were away when Lloyd Smith was elected as the president of the Bermuda Cricket Board. Your thoughts on the election? Now you've seen the outcome. You've probably heard from either side of what's your thoughts?
I know Lloyd. We played obviously many years ago. So he's been around the game.
How many years ago?
Just quite a few. Quite a few. Good pedigree coming from Dem Chirac under stewardship of Mr. Christopher.
Yes.
So he's very much attached to not only the game but also the constitution side of it. He knows a lot about the in and outs of he's tried to run before, failed.
Right.
So I think he took something out of that.
Right.
Obviously, the membership urged to run again.
Yes.
But looking forward, and I say looking forward, I hear wish lists, and it's almost a script from every president I've heard for the last 3-4 elections.
Right.
All right, and it's just a matter of how to actually make these things happen.
Yes.
We talk about getting into schools. We've heard that we've had problems when we was in school.
Right. Right.
And that hasn't really changed.
Right.
So the money, the finances, we've had that for many years also. So what is going to bring different to the table? That will yet to be seen, because there's still going to be challenges to have all these programs that you want to have. There's some good ideas, and as far as, and one thing that stuck out to me was that he wanted to put a major concentration on the domestic game.
Yes. Yes.
And me, I've been banging that drum for a minute before.
In order for us to get better internationally, we have to be better domestically.
And so that I'm fully on board with him when it comes to that. But we know, once again, there's other challenges.
Yes.
We have the social ills that I hear nothing in none of the platforms.
Right.
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 There is let's put it out there, the marijuana use. We heard none of that in the platforms.
Right.
And we know these are the things that are stopping some of our players
From actually
participating not only locally but also internationally.
Yeah.
So those are my things that I want to hear, but never heard.
Right. Right.
I never heard.
But as you say, they have to be addressed in order for it to change.
Now,
have to address it.
one thing that both guys mentioned was they needed to have better communication with the clubs, with the stakeholders. And that has to happen.
Yeah.
The transparency has to happen, because we've heard it from many players. Rather, they're educated enough to know the ins and outs of how the board is run. But there's a mistrust.
Yes. Yes.
It's quite evident.
Yeah. Clear.
Now, I've heard some players might be back in the fold because of new confidence of this president.
Right.
And I hope they are back in there for the right reasons.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Not just to poke your nose at somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hope they're there for the right reasons.
Right.
So, if anything, I think that bodes well.
Right.
But going forward, those challenges have to be addressed. The stakeholders have to step up to the plate and hold the board accountable.
Right.
I think that's one thing. I think a lot of times we leave the board alone. know, and then the board sort of leaves the clubs alone.
Right. But I mean, in Lloyd's platform, he says, he wants the board to be held accountable, and he wants to meet regularly with the clubs to find out what their wishes are and what the board's wishes are, so they can have some collaborative talks. Mm-hmm. It might not go everybody's way at the same time, but at least the talks and discussions. Now, out of that comes dialogue.
Yes.
And and that relationship tends to get better. What I would say, and I've seen and heard a few things already, not just football, but people always say, "Oh, I don't like this person, so no matter what they do, it's never going to be good enough."
Right.
If that's your attitude, then you need to, in your club organization, get somebody else to administer that part for you, because it's never going to go anywhere.
I don't really want you. Personally, I don't really want you.
Right.
One thing I must mention, Gershon Gibbons.
Mm-hmm. Stay on this.
We've seen a lot of times when people run and they don't get in, what they do, take the ball and go home.
Yeah. But he's decided, and remember, that was one of the questions I put to him.
Yes.
If unelected and nominated for another post, would you stay around? And he said yes. And so said so.
And that shows me that
Commitment.
he's the commitment for the sport.
Yeah.
So
beat it.
You can't beat it. Mm-hmm. On another note, when we're talking about the new president of Somerset Cricket Club.
Yes, that's Sean Blanchett.
Yeah.
Spoke to him the next day. He just wanted a little time to meet with his committee, talk about some things, and then he said he'll get back to me. So, looking forward to, now they have a youngster, at the helm.
And Earl, I mean, I'm trying to go, how far can we go back to have a person of his age, the president of Somerset Cricket Club?
Yeah, because I think he's around the same age that Neil was when he took over.
Right, but
That's
St. George.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go back from Somerset to Alfred Mabry.
Yeah. 7 years, so nowhere near.
Richard Scott. Alfred Mabry before that. Colin Smith.
Yes.
Colin Smith.
Yes. Reginald Perrin.
Reginald
Oh,
Perrin.
and Mr. Bean.
And Mr. Bean.
Yes.
You're going back a little while now.
Got some aged citizens.
Yeah, so I do want to say congratulations to
yes,
Mr. Blanchett, and to know that Peanut's been around
yes,
for quite a while. So I don't think definitely wasn't a surprise up in the Somerset.
No.
He's been heavily involved while also playing.
Yes.
And also it reminded me a little bit of Johnny Ball when Johnny Ball became president of PFC. Because he was a youngster who still actually played.
Yes.
He'll put his hand forward. But I wish him all the best, because obviously this is going to be, I don't know if I would have took this year to come in, because Cup match will be in Somerset next year. Right. So those preparations are probably already started.
But Alfred has already laid that foundation, that groundwork.
The good
He's
thing
not going to leave that.
And that's the thing that I do like about, being involved in Somerset as far as Cup match is concerned. You have a lot of elders, statesmen or stateswomen, who will always be there to get your back.
This is their club. They are not going to see their club fail.
There's no way they're going to let that happen.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who the president is or second.
Because the reputation of the club.
They have to. They say, it's going to be interesting how the transition is going to be, because it's not just him as a youngster.
His entire committee.
His committee is pretty the vice president, and everybody. So it's going to be quite interesting how they match that, because they do have a heavy influence with the seniors up in the West End, doing other activities as a community club, and that's one thing that Alfred Mabry carried on from all the past presidents. So it's going to be interesting how they manage the seniors and the youngsters.
How they balance the two, because there is a gap, and that's not just in Somerset, but that's across the island. There's a gap with what the youngsters are looking forward to, and the heritage and history of the club that the outer states people
expect.
That's right. That's right.
This is a difference.
It's a difference.
They expect it.
What you want. But your want is totally different from what they expect. And there is the clash. And I think he and his committee, with also some consistency there with Dawn Simmons staying on, would manage that a little better than other clubs might, because some clubs get in a whole bunch of youngsters so that conversation with the past.
Well, you did it your way back then.
Yes,
We're not doing it that way.
We're going to do it this way.
Right.
But at least there's some reason in the room when decisions are made as to history lessons could be given, why we made these decisions, why we shouldn't make this decision, or why we need to be cautious in making this decision on how it could, you know what I mean? So that type of stuff, I think, with those people in the room to help, I think Somerset now can move forward in advance of what has been done in the past, such as what Maybury has left. A tough act to follow.
Wait, did you ask him about his football boots? Are
Who's
they
that?
staying on?
Who's that? Well, we didn't really. I just talked to him about wanting
That's
to
the
talk.
burning question.
He hasn't been playing them.
But still, they might need him,
And now got to wear construction boots to start him on. He rocked up there, So.
Once again, congratulations.
Indeed. And we'll be back to wrap up this Digicel Sports Show after this message from our sponsor.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, Jay, we've come to the end of the Digicel Sports Shows. We do want to just make sure we stay in touch with what's happening with the IOC, but we'll have that, I guess, on our next show, what the result is with the Russians.
Yeah. Also, before you go, since I was away, always trolling the site, thought of Delray Robbins. Former Delray. And just a quick recap, obviously going over to Australia, sent by his team in England, which is quite different.
Yes. Well, actually, they have quite a few guys.
But to go over there and really hone on some of the skills. Now, if we looked at Delray's summer, quite a improvement in his batting. But if you see what's happened in Australia, it's been all the emphasis on his bowling. And he's coming around quite a bit bowling. I started fresh and started seeing him at second, third, fourth change. Now you see him open up bowling.
And in a 2020 format.
And in a 2020 format.
So the club has the confidence in him. He spent that time in Australia with the England Lions in that camp, bowling. He goes right back, 3 wickets for 8 runs. So once he learns to be consistent in that regard, he's a shooter.
Well, if you look at it, and I just rewind the tape a bit. Let's go back to the early part of the year where he was in South Africa.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So, but when I'm saying that, because England, South Africa.
No, it was India.
India. India.
Yeah, India.
Right. It was India. Right. Now Australia. He'd be looking to go obviously South Africa.
Yes.
And he's probably done some stuff with investing. But to learn all those surfaces, that's where, sometimes we just talked about early in the early part of the show, not keeping this domestic mindset.
Yes.
Kind of put on a world mindset. So obviously, to become one of the best builders in the world, you got to be consistent
all the time,
all the formats and all the surfaces. So, we wish him well, and look, he's almost about to wrap up down.
No, he's got quite a few, 3 more months.
About 3 months.
Yeah, 3 more months. Yeah, he finishes the end of March.
Oh.
Yeah. See, this is their summer.
And then I wonder how much break he's going to get between that and running right into the county season.
Goes right into county season. Back first week in April. I think the county season actually starts mid-April, so probably a week off. Like they did when he came back from India, they gave him 10 days off.
Right.
So they'll give him, because they don't have to worry about the fitness.
No.
They don't have to worry about whether or not he's, batting and bowling in all summer or winter. So they'll.
So let's think about it, Earl. What would you rather do? Would you rather stay in England in the winter
Oh, I'm going Australia, man.
or be in Australia in the
I'm
summer?
down under in the sun. I don't care how hot it is. Down under in the sun, mate. Not no way. No way.
3 sweaters on.
Raining. The hill. No. Call somebody else. No. You know us. We don't do that very well.
No. Negative.
Don't do that very well. Well, folks, that's it from the Digicel Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and Juggling Jay.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back, Carla. Enjoy your night.